On any car, I don't care what power level you're at, get a grippy front tire. You can switch with the sizing and everything like that, but anywhere from like a 225 to a 255, you know, on a 17 or 18-inch wheel. I mean, 16 is fine too, but that width is gonna serve you really well. Get something grippy, okay? Do your research, check out our tire video if you guys wanna see other brands we like and things like that. On the rear, this is where it changes some. On a low power car, you're just gonna go with a real skinny tire. But we really like, you know, some of these cheap brands, cheap performance tires. So anything from Ironman, Non-King, Kenda, Velino, Achilles, they all make like a real cheap kind of summer performance tire. Honestly, up to like 550 wheel horsepower, 600 wheel horsepower. If you have good suspension and a good alignment and you're getting grip from all that stuff, you're gonna be fine with that tire. On our Laurel, that was 550 wheel horsepower, we were running this same tire, this 255. We run this on this R32 as well. And honestly, save yourself money and get grip from your suspension. You're gonna spend a little bit more money up front, getting nice coilovers, sway bars, and getting a nice drop knuckle so you can lower the car and keep that nice geometry. But in the long run, you're gonna save money because you're gonna be able to use a much cheaper tire. So really, grip tire up front, Chinese tire out back. Honestly, start there. If you're watching this video, start there. From there though, you can work tire pressures, you can work spring rates, you can work where your sway bar settings are, your alignment, all that. For us, we really like a neutral alignment in the rear. And I really recommend that, again, for any car you're running. If you're super, super low horsepower and it's a heavy car, you can add a little bit of camber if you have to, but I would still try to just get a skinny tire, up those tire pressures, and stay at 0 camber, 0 toe, and caster just centered in the wheel well, right? You can add a little bit of toe in. We like that. We do like anywhere from 1/8 to a 1/2 inch. I think the Pro car is almost at a 1/2 inch in the rear, which is outrageous.
It's like 5/8.
Is it 5/8? Yeah. Okay, so Jameson's correcting me. It's actually more like 5/8. So that's outrageous. I wouldn't start with toe in though until you're really at like tandem level, let's say. It makes the car drive differently. It can be a little bit scarier. It wants to straighten out faster and things like that. Front, go with what the angle kit recommends. Whatever angle kit you have, they're gonna give you alignment instructions. Start with that. Then, once you're there, you're gonna have recommended spring rates. Those are gonna be good for your car. You're really ready to go. And then it's just playing with your tire pressures. And we're gonna show you kind of what happens when we go too low and too high on tire pressures and kind of what happens. Just real quick, too little grip, you're gonna spin out. You're not gonna be able to, you're gonna go at a high rate of angle real fast, and you're not gonna be able to kind of move the car around and come out of that. It's not ideal. We like grip and drifting. That's a common myth, but you can have too much grip as well. And we've been there. Too much grip, it's gonna be really hard to initiate. It's gonna be really hard to hold angle. Basically, you're gonna throw it, you're gonna get an angle, you're gonna be on throttle, and it's just gonna be wanting to straighten out. So it's really about finding that sweet spot. It's gonna change with how fast you're traveling as well. So when you become a little better drifter and you're driving faster, it's all about speed, guys. We love going fast. So start out slow, but as you get faster, you can add in more grip because the car is traveling faster. So, I mean, that's really it. I think we'll get started. I think we're gonna start with way too much grip. So we're just gonna dump these tires down. We'll dump the fronts as well and kind of see what happens.
Yeah, 15 should be low enough.
Are pushing the limit. About as low as we can go without beating.
We got 15 in the front, 12 in the rear. This is like outrageous. Generally, we actually changed front tires, but we've been around 38 in the front and then somewhere in like 20 in the rear. It's like, this is gonna be crazy. Yeah, there's really, in the front, you should never be that low, honestly. I can't think of any reason why you'd be that low. In the rear, this is like pro car status, but we're running stretch. It's kind of dangerous. So there is potential we could debead. We'll see. We're in a little bit of untested territory. Yeah, let's give it a go. Let's see what happens. I'm basically just gonna hit like these corners and just kind of see how the car acts. Well, that was horrible. I know I was kind of able to make it work, but if you see my lines, like I can't, the car does not want to float at all. And like when I first took off, it just felt horrible. Like it's honestly, they're so low, it was almost like I went to the point of like, I didn't have as much grip. It was kind of not what I expected, I'll be honest. I have never really gone that low and tried drifting because there's just no reason for it. But if you watch my lines, like I was not able to push it wide. Like it was really, everything was just so tight. The car wouldn't float at all. I had to make sure I kind of had a pretty decent amount of angle to like keep it. And I couldn't really get it like out where I wanted to go. And it just steered really weird. Obviously you can overcome it. But if my car was set like that when I was learning, I would hate it. It would be absolutely horrible. So that's the extreme low. That's really as low as I want to go without debeading the rears and potentially even the fronts. So yeah, 12 and 15. We're gonna go for like 60 PSI front and rear. Front, retarded. No reason to ever do it. Rear, potentially. We got one, I guess. Okay, so we had to go back to the rig. We ran out of nitrogen. I know it's super bougie, but the tank's honestly awesome. If you guys, I highly recommend it. They're pretty expensive, but it's definitely served us well. But every once in a while, it empties out on you. So we went back and I was like, JMO, we think about 70. And he's like, yep. So we have 70 PSI on all four corners. There's absolutely no reason to run 70 PSI. This is pretty dangerous in all honesty. We're gonna go see what happens. This is the high-end extreme. I really wouldn't, you probably can go higher, but I wouldn't. And again, there's no reason ever to go that high in the front. And really, like 60 is pretty sketch too. I know I said that, but if you have to, if you're in a pinch, you could do that. But I would say, just try to overcome it. Go a little faster.
Like ice skates.
You guys, that is horrible. That's worse than too much grip, for sure. Like, I don't even know. It's honestly kind of like, we weren't going that fast, but I felt myself like kind of getting timid with it because I just could not tell what it was gonna do. It's not like, it's not so loose, or it's not like loose enough where you know it's gonna float and you're gonna get a bunch of angle. It's so loose that it's completely unpredictable. There'd be times where it's like, okay, I have decent grip, and then I would initiate and it would just like, whoosh, and like I was completely off throttle, just not touching anything. Thank God for Wise Fab. It was like 90 degrees. In a way, it was kind of fun, like doing this, but no, that is horrible, horrible, horrible. That's an extreme example of what happens with way too little grip. Yeah, just don't do that. That sucks. That's gonna be really hard to learn on. You're gonna be constantly spinning out. You're gonna get, I couldn't even hold a line, especially because we gripped up, or we loosened the front tires so much, the car would just do really weird stuff. It'd float all over. I'd say, honestly, having way too much grip in a way is good practice. That's a little dangerous though too, because you can get into breaking axles and transmission, diffs, things like that. But I mean, it's just something to try, I think. Once you get to an advanced level, try playing around with it so you can learn your setups. That's something my good buddy Matt Field kind of taught us back in the day, about doing extreme setups on suspension and tires so you kind of learn where stuff goes. So I'd say when you're there, it's worthwhile, but just don't do this. Let's fix this thing. JMO, I don't even remember where we like to be at anymore. So let's put it back where it needs to be, and let's show you guys what it should look like when you're at the ideal grip for your power level and the speed you're going. So now we have them properly aired. JMO, what'd you set them at?
We've got 38 in the front, and we've got 22 in the rear.
Cool. So we'll play around with it some, especially on the rear. Front, we kind of just let it ride if we're not competing, which this isn't really our comp car. So this is generally kind of around where we run. We might go as low as 16 in the rear and as high as maybe 28. But fronts generally kind of stick around there and we just run it. This is gonna change for your car. I'd recommend starting like 35 front and 35 rear, really. Go test it out, play with those front and rear tire pressures some, but you're not gonna kill yourself if you're at around that kind of spectrum. And now that you've seen what happens with too little and too much, if you're experiencing some of those things, you can start figuring out where to adjust. So let's just show you guys what it should look like. We'll do a couple runs, normal tire pressure. All right, so that was much better, but as you guys could see, I did still spin out. You know what? I am gonna name the company. These Acceleras, the model we're using, whatever they are, I don't know. It's like their street tire. I think they suck personally. Sorry, Accelera. But usually, like with our Ironmans or non-Kings or like Achilles street tires, we're running around 22 and we're more than fine. The track is a little extra slick today. I know one of the go-karters was saying that, but we should have been okay with 22 and it was honestly so slick. So still not quite enough grip, but much better as you guys saw. I just wanted to get rid of these tires. We have like a couple left, so I'm like, let's let them burn for a little bit. But that's pretty much it, guys. As you can see, this is something where you continually are experimenting. Track conditions change. Sometimes it's slick. I honestly don't really know why it's slick today, but the guy who was go-karting actually left. He's like, I'm not able to get any data today, and he was just, you know, racing the track. So it is what it is. So you're constantly learning and you're constantly evolving. Now go ahead and check out these other 2 videos and stick around. See you soon.